We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
And we're back with Liberty Nation's chief political correspondent, Graham J. Noble. Earlier in the show, we were talking about Joe Biden's kickoff campaign speech in Valley Forge and how he essentially forwent the opportunity to talk about his record in office and instead decided to warn about the dangers of Donald Trump. Now, Graham, thanks for coming back. I'm reminded of just now thinking that a lot of Joe Biden's speech there was about democracy, and this appears to be the current thread, the pre-approved title of the Democrats' 2024 campaign, Democracy 2.0. But it was Jeanne Shaheen, the New Hampshire senator, U.S. senator, Democrat senator. And I'm going to give you the quote here, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. "A democracy, if you can keep it," said Ben Franklin. Now, what do you make of that?
She has since deleted it because she got a lot of pushback on that, because of course that's not what Ben Franklin said. On that particular day, he was leaving the the Philadelphia convention, and a lady asked him something along the lines of what have you come up with? What kind of government have you given us, Mr. Franklin? And he turned around and said, "A republic, if you can keep it." And of course, there is a huge difference between a republic and a democracy, because a republic gives you it's a federal republic. We have different states that have a certain amount of autonomy, and all those states are represented. And in the days when the Senate works the way it was supposed to work originally, of course, we had two senators from each state, and their job was not to represent the people. Their job was to represent their states. The House of Representatives represents the people. But anyway, and this is a system that allows for equal representation among all of the, well, of course, the now 50 states, as opposed to the original 13. But that is not a democracy. We do not have majority rule as such in this country. And of course, that's why the Democrats have often been trying to get rid of the Electoral College and replace it with the national popular vote, which would make this country into a
it would make it into California.
It would make it into it would make it into an awful place, because then it's funny that their argument, I don't want to get too into the weeds of this argument, Electoral College between popular vote, but I mean, they always say that the Electoral College means that certain states, the smaller states, they have more of a say than they deserve because of their size and their populations. But of course, if you go to the popular vote, then our presidents will always be chosen by those small group of the most popular states, and all the rest of the states, the votes from all of the people in all the rest of the states won't matter at all.
Yeah, the reason I brought that up is because it seems there's no currency, it seems, for Democrats to say, what's at stake this time around? The republic. Because that would be a completely different message, wouldn't it? Rather than what's at stake this time around? Democracy.
Yeah.
How does that work? I mean,
I'm
trying to keep Donald Trump off the ballot in so many states anyway. That's hardly democratic.
The semantics of it are very interesting, because of course, if they campaigned on the republic is at stake, then they would actually sound like Republicans. They would sound...
Funny that, isn't
it? So therefore they have to keep going on about this democracy, and they're trying to kind of convince everyone that democracy is the important thing here. Now, of course, we do have a democratic system of electing presidents, because everyone does actually get to vote. So there's obviously an element of democracy in there, but it is not. We don't operate upon direct democracy here in the States. It's a federal republic, and so it is. I mean, right now, I would say that in 2024, the republic is at stake. But because the republic is at stake, that also means the entire system, the electoral college and people's votes. Everything is at stake.
Yeah, there's a lot of and now I mean there are good arguments for having a basic representative democracy over a constitutional republic. There's good arguments for it on both sides, I guess. But if
Well,
you're running,
wasn't it perhaps Winston Churchill who
yes.
once said, there's not exact quote, but he more or less said democracy is a horrible idea, but it's just better than all the others.
Yeah, it's except for all the others. It's the worst possible form of governance that you've got, except for all the others.
Right.
But there are a lot of things that come with a republic, and it really is. You've got, as you point out, you've got the electoral college, you've got the equal representation in the Senate. There's the House of Representatives that deals with, hey, we're a more populous state, therefore we get more representation. That kind of levels it out. It was a really well-designed system by the founders, shockingly well-designed, because like Canberra, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Australian capital city, but it was a tiny city of 30,000 people soon after its creation, essentially. But then it grew to 300,000 in quite a short time, and you couldn't tell the difference because it was built to be expanded. And that really, for me, that's also the Constitution of the United States of America, that the systems by which the country operated with 13 states, it was designed to be expanded and to account for all the things. And I think that President Joe Biden, and I mean, I'm not just singling out Democrats on this, because let's be fair, there are very few stalwart defenders of the Constitution in either party.
That is true.
In Congress at the moment.
Yep.
But it really seems to me that they're looking to change what the country is, and they don't have a mandate for that. They have what Joe Biden has been ruling from the executive with the barest majority in the Senate. I mean, for the first 2 years, the tie-breaking vote was his vice president. And now he's lost the House as well. But he's still governing as though he has, and Tim Donner, Liberty Nation senior political editor, analyst, he says all the time, he's governing as though he's got a super majority mandate, and he doesn't. And that is, I feel that's to the detriment of the country.
One thing I've noticed on the left, coming out of the left and in certain media outlets, is this idea that the current system of government we have is really dangerous. The system itself is kind of a threat to, again, democracy, because it allows what they describe as a minority, a kind of a right-wing extreme minority, and by that basically they mean everyone who supports Trump, is this dangerous right-wing minority who actually get to have a say. And that in itself is a threat to democracy, which of course is ridiculous, because if you're saying that any one group of people should be silenced, then perhaps you are the threat to democracy.
Yeah, well, the smallest, most important voice within a democracy, or in fact a constitutional republic, is as ever the individual. Graham J. Noble, thanks ever so much for joining us.
Thanks, Mark.
We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
Don't get caught up in the media madness. Join our movement for free thinking and free speech at libertynation.com. Publishing news and analysis 24/7 with original articles by our team of authors who tell it like it is. Join us each week for online TV shows, The Uprising Podcast, and Liberty Nation Radio. We believe in free thinking and free speech. We are libertynation.com.